Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's show is brought to you by our good friends, FanDuel. Now, today's going to be an awesome show. It's jam-packed with a bunch of news and rumors, and for those of you that don't know what my Chucky Head rumor scale is, well, guess what? You're going to see a lot of Chucky Heads on today's show. So let's talk about this thing that's going on here. Melvin Gordon wants to be an Oakland Raider. This one's two Chucky Heads, and people are talking. So in today's world, social media impacts a lot of things. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Melvin Gordon, when he got permission to seek a trade, from the Chargers, he followed the Raiders on Instagram. And everybody went nuts. Like, I don't even know how many people hit me up and say, hey, Mitch, I'm going to slide in your DMs because I think Melvin Gordon is trying to slide in the DM of the Raiders. Now, here's the two parts of that, okay? One, I don't blame Melvin Gordon for wanting to be a Raider. It's a really good time to be a Raider right now. And then with them going to Las Vegas, the dude wants to get paid. But here's the other thing. He also followed 4 other teams. So, like, in my mindset, if a pretty girl hits me up, the first thing that I wonder is, how many people did she message that to? For any of you guys that are on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, whatever the heck they're called nowadays, if you're messaging somebody and they go out and follow somebody else, that doesn't mean they're that interested in you. It just means, hey, sometimes you're just trying to get what you're trying to get. But here are the other teams that they followed. The Eagles, the Falcons, the 49ers, and I can guarantee you Melvin Gordon is not trying to be an Eskimo. Come on, man. So here's the running back depth chart for the Raiders right now. You have Josh Jacobs. You have Jalen Richard. You have DeAndre Washington. Can somebody please tell me where in the world you're going to put Melvin Gordon? Melvin Gordon is a great running back, but I am very, very high on Josh Jacobs, the running back that we drafted in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft. So here's a question for all of you guys to chew on and really think about. Who's the better running back? Type G for Gordon or type J for Jacobs? I say this, and I want you guys to just think about the entire process, okay? Melvin Gordon has been great the last 3 years, 28 total touchdowns. But running backs don't have a long shelf life here in the NFL. And do you think Josh Jacobs or Melvin Gordon is going to be better the next 3 years? Because that's what I care about. I don't care about the past. I care about the future. So the better running back, G for Gordon or type J for Josh Jacobs. The next question on today's show. Who wants to go to Monday Night Football? Week 1, Raiders versus the Broncos. I want you guys to type me in the comments section. So I've been flirting with this idea, and thanks to Raider Nation Store, who provides all my t-shirts here, they've hooked me up with a giveaway for Raiders Broncos Monday Night Football ticket. So if you want to get in on the action, if you want to go to Raiders Week 1, you got to subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report. Okay? That gets you 1 entry. Then you need to follow me on Instagram at MitchellRens365. So if you do both of those, that counts as 2 points. If you only do one, getting math here. That's only 1 point. Then you got to go to Twitter. Then you got to tweet the YouTube video and tag me, okay? So when I put this video out on YouTube, take the link, put it on Twitter, tweet it out, and then if you @ me, I'm going to retweet all the people that do that. That's a big pointer right there. And then you got to share the video on Facebook. It's going to be on Facebook. So if you do all 4 of those things, it counts, you ready for this, as 4 points because each action equals 1 entry. So think about it as names in the hat. If you have 4 names in the hat, it's a lot better than 3 names, or 2 names, or 1. And then make sure you guys DM me on IG or Twitter to let I know that you did it. Because for people that are doing that, you're getting your name put in the hat. And now here's the next thing. Mark in your calendar because I'm going to announce the winner on Thursday, September 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure those notifications are turned on so you know exactly when I go live. Because if I announce your name and you're not watching the show, the chances of you getting it are about to go down, okay? So I'm going to announce the winner Thursday, September 5th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be live here on the Raiders Report on YouTube and on Facebook. Let's get back into these rumors. Are the Raiders trading for Melvin Gordon because he followed him on YouTube or on Instagram? No, 0 Chucky Heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Just because Melvin Gordon followed the Raiders on Instagram, it does not mean that the Raiders are going to seek a trade for Melvin Gordon. It makes no sense. Literally none. Okay, and NBC Sports is doubling down on this with me, which I appreciate, that they're saying that Oakland is an unlikely trade destination for Melvin Gordon. I do other things than the Raiders Report here at Chat Sports, and we did a top 5 teams for Melvin Gordon. The Raiders are not on that list for multiple reasons. One, you went out and you drafted Josh Jacobs in round 1 of the 2019 NFL Draft. The second reason, Melvin Gordon wants to get paid, and he wants to get paid a lot of money. He wants to get paid like David Johnson, like Le'Veon Bell, like Todd Gurley. They offered him, as in they is the Chargers, over $10 million, and Melvin Gordon basically said to shove it. Now, if you look at just the numbers that Melvin Gordon has produced on the ground, you say, well, Mitch, 28 touchdowns is pretty good. I agree. Melvin Gordon, from a touchdown standpoint, has been good. But when you look at actual yards per carry, it's not very good. And he's been a threat out of the receiving game, and I get it. If you guys play fantasy football, Melvin Gordon is a running back that I like to draft in fantasy football. But if you're going to ask me, do I think Melvin Gordon is going to be able to play 14 games every single year after he gets paid? I don't think so. He is an injury risk running back, and why would I go out and pay Melvin Gordon when I'm pretty confident that if we gave Josh Jacobs the amount of work that Melvin Gordon's getting, I guarantee you Josh Jacobs puts up better numbers. So Melvin, you are a great running back, but I do not want to see you in silver and black. Let's talk about Gabe Jackson now. Here's my next rumor. Is Gabe Jackson coming back in week 7? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. And if I could put 3.9 Chucky heads on screen, I would do it. Now, I've been talking about this since Gabe Jackson got hurt on August 8th. He suffered an MCL injury, and originally, it was an 8-week recovery timetable. And I said about a month ago that I would expect Jackson back week 7 versus the Packers. So I looked around. NBC, Scott Bair, they released an article saying that they anticipate Jackson coming back week 7. And the reason, because the Raiders have that week 6 bye. I will also say this, Scott Bair, maybe someone needs to check his article. It's still live. You guys can go see it. He says that the Raiders are going to play the Texans in week 7. And Scott, sorry, breaking news, that's not the schedule. So here are the games that I think that he's going to miss. Obviously the Broncos, Chiefs, the Vikings, at the Colts. Hey, at least we get to see Andrew Luck. Too soon. Week 5 versus the Bears. Week 6 is that bye. And then I think Gabe Jackson comes back week 7 at the Packers. The Texans, Scott Bair. That's week 8. It's okay. We got you here at the Raiders Report. But I think the fact that Gabe Jackson's going to be out 7 weeks, I think it's just simple fact. They want to make sure that Jackson is 100% healthy. Now, if you love the Raiders, and I would imagine a bunch of you do, because we are the most watched YouTube channel. Period. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. We've been able to build a family here, which I love being able to do. So if you're a Raiders fan, or if you know some Raiders fans that aren't already subscribed, send them this link, YouTube.com/Raiders Report. Tell them to subscribe, because the more viewers we get, the more subscribers we get, the more shows we can get. And then I also got to visit some really cool people in San Diego this weekend. So shout out to my man Can't Walk. It's his IG handle. Got some beers, hung out at a really cool place, Latchkey Brewing, and I'm always down to get down with the Raider Nation. So make sure you guys subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report. I got 3 more rumors here. Denzelle Good, is he going to start week 1 versus the Denver Donkeys? This one's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. John Gruden loves Denzelle Good. And in a quote that he had, he said that Good has been looking great, and I don't know, that kind of shit makes me laugh. But he is listed as the backup behind Gabe Jackson, so if anybody sees the depth chart that the Raiders have released, it's okay, pump the brakes, all good. NBC Sports, they come out and say that they do anticipate Good on starting week 1 because of the injury due to Gabe Jackson. We'll see if Denzelle Good can continue to start at right guard, because the Raiders right now, they're going to be doing a lot of shuffling at that offensive line. And speaking of more shuffling at that offensive line, the next player that I want to talk about is Devey. Is he going to start week 1? For Chucky heads, believe it, baby. Warning, the amount of Chucky heads that you're going to see on screen here in the next 2 minutes is going to be a new record. And as Devey is going to be starting there at the left guard position. So we know Richie Incognito is suspended those first 2 weeks, and he's going to be battling it out with Jonathan Cooper, and he just flat out looked better than Jonathan Cooper has this preseason. So I'm not ultimately too surprised that Jordan, who is a veteran, was able to come in. He was able to play multiple offensive line positions in this preseason. So the fact that he's able to start there for the Raiders, I think, is ultimately some good news. So here's the depth chart right now for the Raiders. This is just released, okay? This is the depth chart that the Raiders have just released. So you're going to notice, like I said, Gabe Jackson, he is still the starter, but he's not going to be playing the first 7 weeks. So here's the starting offensive line versus the Denver Broncos. You got Colt Miller on the left side. Needs to be able to protect Derek Carr's blind side. Jordan Devey. Rodney Hudson, who we just extended 3 years for $34 million. Denzelle good. Hopefully he can look good. And then Trent Brown at right tackle. That is the starting offensive line versus the Broncos. So that's the offensive line. So how many sacks, or will the Raiders, I can't read, will the Raiders allow a sack week 1? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If you're going to type Y for yes, let me know how many sacks you think they allow. If you're going to type N for no, you're the kind of guy that I want to buy a beer for when I go to the game week 1, Broncos versus the Raiders. So will the Raiders allow a sack? Y for yes, N for no. And speaking of buying some beers, I want to be able to hook some people up with some beers. So I'm going to this party. You guys should hear about it. Or wait, have you guys heard about it? I hope so. Hopefully you watch. It's the blackhole.com/kickoff if you want tickets. So when you go to the blackhole.com/kickoff, use my promo code Mitch. You're going to save $10. Now here's the thing. Put it in your calendar. Radisson Hotel at the Oakland Airport. This is where the party's going to be located. And if you're like, well, shit, Mitch, I live really close to there. Well, hey, hit me up. I'll get you some tickets. Also, if you're trying to stay overnight, I can also get you $100 off at least one night. So hit me up on IG or Twitter. I'll get you those details because it's going to be an awesome kickoff party. There's going to be Raiderettes, Victoria's Secret models. I'll be there. I don't know. I'm not as good as a Victoria's Secret model. But hey, you know, you guys can hang out with me. And we can get a beer or two. Now, who plays FanDuel here? Does anyone play on FanDuel? I love fantasy football, and I love playing on FanDuel. So how many people drafted Andrew Luck? How many people drafted Patrick Mahomes? Here's the thing. I don't want to start either of those players week 1 on FanDuel. Patrick Mahomes is going up against the Jacksonville Jags, and it's a matchup that I don't want. But if you guys want to play against me, I have a Raiders-only fantasy football league on FanDuel. You got to go to FanDuel.com/chatsports. When you sign up and deposit, okay, you're going to get your money. We're going to match your bonus up to $20, I believe. So you put down 5, we give you 5. You put down 10, we give you 10, all right? So FanDuel.com/chatsports. Once you do it, screenshot me, and I'm going to add you to my league. And then I believe whoever comes in first, you get like 18 or 20 bucks for the first place. And then you're also going to get a shout-out. So if you think you're smarter than me, think you're smarter than a 5th grader, hit me up. Doss picked Jags over the Oakland Raiders. Did Keelan Doss pick the Jags over the Oakland Raiders? This one's also for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. I put out a video on Saturday about the Raiders' cuts. Keelan Doss was an obvious cut. I was pretty pissed off about it, but hey, somehow, some way, I think everything's going to be all right. Cut by the Raiders on Saturday. The Raiders did offer Doss a practice squad spot. However, Doss did turn it down to join the Jacksonville Jags. Am I angry about it? No, absolutely not. I think Keelan Doss is going to be a solid wide receiver. But when you really think about opportunity and what this young kid's trying to do as a UDFA, I mean, let's face it. Like, he was not the only wide receiver cut by the Raiders. Now, he put up by far the best numbers, the 17 catches, 162 yards, and I still believe that the Raiders should have kept him over potentially keeping, I don't know, a third quarterback. Keon Hatcher, Aitman, Pearson L., Rico Gafford, all other notable cuts. Now, here's the Raiders' wide receiver depth chart. I think it's a lot more stacked than what we've seen in recent years. But the biggest reason why Keelan Doss decided to go to the Jags and not the Raiders is because, let's face it, he has a much better chance of playing with the Jacksonville Jags. And if I'm a UDFA, I'm looking at Marcus Lee, who gets hurt every year. D.D. Westbrook's a good receiver. Chark, Conley, Terrell Pryor, Keelan Cole. Like, come on. If I'm Keelan Doss, I'm like, I have a much better chance of getting on the field with that depth chart than ever getting on the field with the Oakland Raiders. So I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of my word. And I said if Keelan Doss did not make the Raiders team, I was going to do Edward 40 hands. So, Mom, if you're watching the show, Google what Edward 40 hands is. It's when you tape 2 40 beers to your hands, and then you drink them on the show. So if you want me to do this, type 40, because I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it sooner or later. So I want to see a bunch of 40s in the comments section, and make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss me make an absolute fool of myself. The last rumor on today's show is the Oakland Raiders report going to be on cable television. So right now, you guys know it's the #1 Raiders show on the internet. We are currently on YouTube and Facebook, and Chat Sports CEO James Yoder said, we'll see. We've been doing a lot of good things here at the Raiders Report, and I'm very, very proud of what we've been able to build. So will we see the Raiders on cable TV? This one's too Chucky heads. People are talking. Now, we got a Hard Knocks watch party tonight. It's going to be live on YouTube and on Facebook, September 3rd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you guys are subscribed at youtube.com/Raidersport so you guys can join me. We're going to crack open some beers. Episode 5, the last episode of the Oakland Raiders on Hard Knocks. Make sure you guys join me tonight on YouTube and on Facebook. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.